Okay, trying something new here. This is going to be Cat versus Davis. I'm going to do it probably in 6 parts. Each part should be about a round. I think this first round got stopped halfway through though for an armor failure. It's not really clear what happened. Regardless, that's kind of irrelevant to what we're going to be going over. If you're new to watching this shit, I'm gonna talk about the fights and what they, did, what the fighters did right, what the fighters did wrong, and kind of try to break down the fight. So anyway, let's get into it. So we have Cat right here. We have Davis right here. Cat has been fighting for years. Davis has been fighting for about a year at this point. So definitely, we're gonna watch a skill set. We're gonna watch a battle of skill versus sort of size. Davis has 40 pounds on Cat in this fight, I believe. So that's really what it's gonna come down to: size versus skill, and we'll see how that plays out. So here we go. The fight starts. Right from the start, I want to note some footwork. Davis is a little wide here. You can see his foot is not quite under his shoulders, but he's going to bring it in. This foot's coming in that way. And he's going to send basically like this. Ooh, that was wrong. Basically like that, with his feet directly under his shoulders, kind of in a square stance. If you've ever done wrestling, that's what it is. Instead of the sugar foot forward, typical boxer stance or something, both his feet are going to be parallel to each other under his shoulders. It's somewhat sturdy, but doesn't leave you much room to move. And if you get hit in the wrong way, you are not sturdy at all. So Cat, on the other hand, as you notice, one foot is back, one foot's forward, and this foot, the back foot, you can see is moving this way. And it's actually going to put some torque on his chest. So as we see, it lands here, and that front foot comes forward. So he's no longer doing the footwork that we sort of teach in the Knights Hall per se. His feet are a little wide. We say shoulders over thighs, which he basically has, but then over feet. You can see his feet are a little wide there. However, that's because he's in mid-transition. And as you can see, what he's done by stepping this foot back, so they're almost in parallel, his shoulders are rocked forward here, so that they're sitting like this instead of like that. That's not a very good diagonal. So you see his shoulders are sort of like that, and his hips are also like that, but his feet are more vertical. I can't really do this diagram on here, but hopefully you can see what I'm talking about. That's providing torque, which is actually going to give him power. So when he throws this shot, he's just returning his body to its natural state, so that it would be in line. So his shoulders would be like that. Shoulders would be one shoulder will be here, one shoulder will be here, instead of both shoulders basically being on that line. And that return, that natural return, gives him a bunch of extra power on this first shot. So the other thing to notice that we're going to pay attention to on this footwork is this foot's going to come up and immediately step back. So watch as he throws, that foot comes up. The shot does look like it misses a little bit, and we'll talk about that in a second. But notice this foot comes back. He's already pre-voided. So Davis has been walking forward, and he's going to take another step in. But Cat, oh, I guess he doesn't take a step in. I thought he did. Sorry. If he were, Cat was already out of the way and safe. This is a very good technique to use when you're firing single shots, or just when you want to leave. As you throw that first shot, you move a foot so that you're already pre-voided. So you're already out of the way on whatever return the person's going to throw. So, about this first shot, right? Cat's coming over the shield. So the shield's angle is right here. Oh, that's awful. The shield's angle of blocks are sort of right there. Anything that comes in near that spot is going to get hit. So if you bring your angle, your vector up a little bit, he has to lift the shield, which is very hard. Shields are heavy when they're outstretched. So that's what Cat does here. Notice he's coming in right about that level. However, he's at full range. He's barely, his arm's fully extended. When we get to the, you can't really see it, but the axe is right there. So this is his full possible extension. He's even leaning forward a little bit, while even though his hips are pulling back, his chest is forward a little. And he's still not quite in range. Maybe he was hoping that Davis would take a step forward, which would have put him in range. And you can notice that early step here, that little rock was trying to get him that range, so that he would be close enough. But because he has to come up high over the shield, that vector doesn't really give him it, and he's throwing at that extreme range. So when you're doing that shot, you kind of need to set it up first. You need to figure out where your range is. Then you take this little step that he took here, and that gets you a little bit closer. And while you're throwing it, and you can throw at your extreme range, but you'll know where it is. Notice how late Davis's block comes up? Because as that throw comes in, it looks like it's almost in the angle for the shield, because you're throwing basically just right above it, and at an angle so that it's going to come down. The shield, even though it's round, basically has these angles. So you can see like that. That's actually, you can throw along that angle. You can throw along that angle, and those are where you want to throw your shots, so that you're coming, whatever angle the shield makes, you throw right above it, along, parallel towards it, because that makes it way harder for it to intercept. If you throw a vertical shot there, just something straight down in towards the shield, it becomes very easy to just move it into the way. But if you're throwing along the edge of the shield, it's much, much harder. So that's what Cat's trying to do here. Doesn't quite work, because as we said, he's at his extreme range. He hasn't really figured it out. This is also both their first times fighting with hatchets, so gonna be a little bit of adjustment in this early period. So anyway, it's enough talking about that. We spent like 5 hours on footwork. So this is the next little bit. Davis is doing these little steps to get in, trying to stay under control. And this is just way overcommitting here, and at the exact wrong time. So Cat drops his level. Notice the knee change. Notice his hips are here and his shoulders are here. When before, boop, boop. So that's giving him an extra basically 6 inches of change that Davis has to adjust for. And as he makes that movement, probably because of the first shot that happened earlier, Davis makes the mistake of bringing his shield up. So the shield comes up. Cat's going down though. And then that is fired towards the leg. Now, Davis makes the mistake of putting his leg all the way out. He should have kept it right about here. He brings it all the way out here, making it a super juicy target and very easy for Cat to land. Notice as he lands, watch this foot slide. Bam. He's already preparing. This one comes up, and he's back out, preparing for the void. And as you can see, Davis' shot just barely misses because of it. So again, when you're firing that first shot in, that one-time shot, if you're already pre-voiding, if you're already about to leave as you throw it, you can make that land. It's going to make it harder for that shot to land, but it means you're not going to eat a shot on the way out. The other thing to notice is Cat's shield position, right? So shield stays up here and comes up as he stands up. This drop shot, you have basically eliminated a lot of your target. Davis can't really throw into that area because the shield's already down low. He can't really throw an offside because that's where Cat's own shot is coming from. So those are both really off limits. The only thing that's left is sort of this downward vertical shot towards the head. So you bring your shield up to catch it, and note he's expecting it to come in because that's what looks like the best target because you're dropped low. Shield's up high. Davis actually is throwing mid stroke here, but because he's voided, and even though his shield's now in the out position because Davis didn't bite on that headshot, that void is going to get him free. So let me see, free on that shot. Davis is going to follow him in, and this is the other thing we're going to note as we keep talking about this. Oh, Jesus, I've already run 10 minutes. He's going to drop another shot into Davis's legs. Bam. So that is working a technique where Cat's going to be trying to land on that right leg, that left leg, as much as possible to make Davis hyper aware of that axe. Every time that Davis bites on that axe shot, it leaves his face open, and Cat's going to start throwing heavy punches. This is a technique I love to use where I'll throw high, throw high, throw high, and then I drop heavy low. Either you bite on that high way too much, giving me the low shot, or when I throw low and I beat you on that, you're going to be over wary for it, so I can throw high, fake low, and then hit you high again. So this tangle, there's not really much here. Again, notice Davis's feet are flat, are straight in line with his shoulders, which gives you strength in certain directions, but not much strength back and forward, which is a little worrisome. Cat, a little too wide here, but he has that nice angle, that 45, so he's strong in every direction. Manages to push Davis out. This is classic. Everyone needs to have this. Notice he pushes Davis out and immediately fires a shot. Right there. That shot, that key shot, as you push someone out or as you leave, you fire a shot every time. Every entrance, every exit should be done with some form of offensive action. That basically gives you a little bit of paralyzation of your opponent, which can help you escape, makes it less likely you're going to get hit on the transition, which is a very dangerous place to be. Usually when you're moving, your guard's not in as great a position, so it is way easier to get hit. And also, as you're moving, it makes it harder for them to block. So even just a light with no effort snapshot to the head or something might land because you're changing the vector as you move. All right. So Cat voids, Davis throws in, and we're going to get into another grapple here. Note Davis comes under here. Cat's arms are way too high. So what Cat's trying to do here is, he knows Davis is a big, strong, tall guy. And he's hoping that if by getting his head down, there's going to be too much weight, because he's so big, pulled forward. Too much weight off of his hips, and he won't have the core and legs to hold himself up. However, by doing that, you can see Davis is under and is able to really fight out of that and kind of gets himself in a better position here. However, Davis doesn't really know what he's doing yet. This will get better later on in the fight. We'll see Davis really start to figure out a better sense of grapple against Cat, who's one of the better grapplers, especially against big men in the league. So Davis gets pulled to the side, and Cat's going to try driving him forward. Again, there's not much going on here. Cat's going to try working the leg. This first shot is good, but after that, Davis kind of blocks that angle, and Cat's still going to try for it, but he's not really going to get much. This, however, and this is, I think, we're going to end. So Davis is driving Cat forward. Rather than try and fight him on it, Cat says, "Sure, let's go, let's go." And note right here, this left leg of Cat's is going to step back here, and it puts Cat's hips on this angle, whoop, and Davis's hips are on that angle. So now Davis's momentum and force is being driven that way into Cat, but Cat's leg here is going to give him a good brace against it. That's where that parallel stance actually gives you strength in that side-to-side motion. Cat's kind of parallel here. He's still keeping a bit of a 45, which also gives you strength against that motion. Cat's power, however, is that way, or really that way. So what's going to happen is Cat is going to be able to pull Davis in this direction because Davis has zero stance protecting him, right? His legs are here. There's no angle there to protect him. There's no angle here to protect him. His force is able to prevent anything that pushes that way, but nothing that's going to push in the opposite direction. And that's where Cat's force is all directed. What's really neat about this, so as Cat does it, he takes his right inside leg and steps out behind his left leg. That's super dangerous. And the other thing to note, right? Watch this arm. This arm gets a little twist, and that's really what pulls it off. It's not just this step. This step is huge and super important because that's what brings them to the body. But getting them off their base right here with this little torque, that's really you can see how torqued Cat's arm is. That's really what makes the throw. If they're not moving off their center of access, if you're not getting their head moving, they're not going to fall. But back to the foot. So his leg is here, right? It's crossed behind him, nowhere near shoulders over thighs over feet, and yet you can see his balance is still fairly good. He's still maintaining a straight back. This is some good athleticism and a lot of just having been in armor for a long time. This is key. Make sure you get comfortable in your armor so you can do weird things like step behind yourself. A lot of people fall down their first couple times just because they don't really know how their armor works, and even after a while, having been in armor, you might not be able to do fancy shit like karaoke. So put your kit on, particularly your lower legs, and do karaoke. Do squats. Try to do pistols, get used to weird movements. Because so normally I would take this throw by taking that outside foot and taking that outside foot back like this and just rotating my whole body essentially in a 180 to a 360. So I'd take that step, rotate my upper body so that I would end facing either the judges here or facing the crowd here. Facing the camera here. But instead, Cat stays facing his opponent as he does it, that's the kind of neat thing. His hips are still driving forward. He's still facing his opponent, and even though he's got this weird torque on his hips, he's able to maintain balance. And note, as he does that throw, this other foot clears out of the way, which is key because if it doesn't, Davis is going to take him down on that throw. I would like to see this outside foot come more back on that clear, or come back earlier, but it's really neat that he pulled that off with that back step. It's a little dangerous, high risk, high reward, so I wouldn't recommend doing it, but if you can pull it off, if it works, it's not a stupid idea, right? Anyway, it's been 18 minutes for 30 seconds of fighting. So I'm going to end this. Hopefully I can make these a little quicker in the future. Sorry, guys. Anyway, this is Ringo doing reviews and shit. We're going to do 6 more of these, and I don't know what's coming after that. Peace.